What makes someone a faithful and true witness amidst a court proceeding? Or what does it take to be a faithful witness when someone is on trial? And there are definitely many ways we can answer this question, but one thing's for sure. A faithful and true witness must stand on truth in their convictions, no matter how high the pressure gets to compromise or deny truth. Now, as we get an up-close look in personal Peter's denials of Jesus in Mark 14, we're actually going to see two trials going on. Now, Mark intersperses Jesus' trial in between his prediction of Peter's denial and Peter's actual denial of Jesus. While Jesus is on trial literally, Peter is on trial figuratively. Now, the word witness is used 7 times in chapter 14. And the word witness here actually means a martyr. So it's defined as someone who's willing to testify truthfully about Jesus, even if it costs them everything. So as the trial is about to begin, keep some things in mind. Jesus is in trial while Peter is in the process of denying him. Unlike Jesus, however, Peter would fail miserably as a witness for his trial. As Jesus was being a faithful witness to Peter by keeping his mouth shut, Peter was being a faithless witness to Jesus by opening his mouth. As Jesus was being a faithful witness through great humility, as demonstrated by his prayer in the garden, Peter is being a faithless witness through his great pride, as demonstrated by his self-confidence. Jesus was being a faithful witness by willingly handing himself over to die on Peter's behalf. Peter is being a faithless witness by refusing to be handed over and face death on Jesus' behalf. And yet, as faithless as a witness as Peter is to Jesus, and as bad as he fails, his failure is a gracious means that is used to catapult Peter into a place of leadership on behalf of the one that he so vehemently denies. Even amidst Peter's failures, there are hints of grace that can be extracted. Sometimes before we can be faithful recipients of grace, we need certain things that are lying dormant within us to be exposed. Before Peter was in a position to steward the grace faithfully of leading, he needed the grace of his pride being exposed. Many of us don't know what lies dormant within us until we are thrust into certain situations that reveal it. And far from this being a cruel act on God's part, this is a loving act that is used to refine us to be faithful over the ocean of grace he is often willing to lavish upon us. So let us not get so fixed on our definition of grace that we fail to recognize God's definition of grace when it is extended to us. Having pockets of sin revealed in our lives is one act of grace, which often leads to other acts of grace. Now, let's just be very direct, though, about Peter's failure here. When he hears Jesus' prediction of his denial, Peter forms his own inflated opinion apart from Christ's words. And that's really a recipe for disaster. He elevates his words above Christ's words. It wasn't as if Peter couldn't discern what Jesus was saying, or as if the words of Jesus were fuzzy or vague. Instead, the case was he clearly heard Jesus' words, and he still believed that his own conclusions were more accurate than what Jesus was saying. And in case that didn't seal the deal for you, Jesus also quotes scripture to make his point in Mark 14, and Peter still asserts that his perspective is more accurate. This is the height of arrogance. It's right about now that we are tempted to write Peter off as a faithless witness, and for good reason. He's kind of bumbled and stumbled pretty bad. Yet, the beauty of the gospel is this. Because Jesus was faithful in his trial, there was grace for Peter who was faithless in his trial. And therefore, in John chapter 21, Jesus is going to restore the one who failed miserably, not only to where he was before, but in his grace, he is going to promote him to a place that he even wasn't before he failed. And that is the grace of the God whom we serve.